Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, um, I decided that I wanted to do a couple of videos on how to solve quadratic equations, quadratic functions. So what I decided to do, instead of looking at delta math questions or some other kind of questions, I thought I would look at some of the old questions from some past exams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the problems from the August 2024, the most recent Regents exam, and kind of show you basically how you should be solving them. All right. So the three most important keys is going to be are menu 61 for zeros, menu 62 for minimum, and menu 64 for intersection. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at a couple of questions, 4 or 5 questions from the August Regents, and then I'm going to do another video for June, and then I'm going to do one for January, I think. So let's go. All right, so if you look at number 8, this is a multiple choice question. They've given us a quadratic, and basically what they want us to do is complete the square. Now, we haven't actually gone into completing the square. We just learned the quadratic formula, but I want to show you that basically um, all you have to do for this one is we are going to graph and find the minimum and then kind of work backwards. So let me show you exactly what I would do. I would graph this x squared plus 6x minus 18, graph it. And now I'm going to pull the graph paper up because I want the minimum here. I want the minimum. So I'm just going to do menu 62, and it tells me that the minimum is at a -3, a -26, 27. So this is going to be the axis of symmetry, and the square root of this is going to be the other part. So if I go back to my iPad, this is what I would write. This would be x equals a -3 plus or minus the square root of 27. Now, to get to your answer, you're just going to work backwards. And so this is going to be x plus 3 is equal to the square root of 27. And then if you square both sides, you've got your answer. So it's going to be x plus 3 squared equals 27. That's your answer, and this is the one you would choose. Okay, now you could do this a bunch of different ways. You could actually complete the square. You could actually solve this equation and find out what your zeros are or solutions are, and then go through and check each one. It doesn't matter. Just make sure in the multiple choice section you get it. All right, let's go. All right. For this one, I'm not going to actually plot all the points, but one of the things I want you to see is, again, they've given us a quadratic function and they want the minimum. So all you're going to do is put this function in, x squared plus 4x plus 1. And just like we just did, you're just going to find the minimum coordinates and you're going to put them here. And this is a 2-point question. Finding the vertex or the minimum is going to be 1 point. And then you just have to find 5 points. So I would use the table, get 5 points, plot it, and then go. Okay, that's it. So menu 62 would be necessary for this one. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, this one is a quadratic formula. So I'm going to go through this one. Now, we're not going to actually use the quadratic formula to compute this. We're going to use the graph, but we have to at least demonstrate that we know how to use the quadratic formula. So it's going to be A equals 1, B equals 3, and C equals a -6. So you're going to use a quadratic formula and you're going to substitute those numbers in the appropriate place. And of course, remember, they're going to give you the formula, so you don't have to memorize any of this. This is 1, this will be a -6. And then down here, it'll be 2 times 1. Now, once you've done this, you're going to take your calculator. Let's go. And we're basically going to graph it, and we're going to find the minimum again. So go here. We're going to do x squared plus 3x minus 6. Press enter. Boom. I'm going to grab the graph paper so I can get to the minimum. I'm going to do menu 62, just like I did before. I'm going to come here. Boom, this. Now, I just need to convert these to fractions, and that's going to be my answer. So a negative 1.5 is the same thing as a negative 3 over 2. So I can go there and already do this part. So it's going to be x equals a negative 3 over 2 plus or minus. Now I got to figure out what goes the second part. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this, the positive y coordinate. It's going to be 8.25. Going to convert it to a fraction. So watch. I'm just going to go here, convert it to a fraction. It's 8.25, 8.25, menu 22 converts it to a fraction. All right, and then I press enter, and it's going to be 33 over 4. So that means my answer for this question is going to be the square root of 33 over the square root of 4. Now, if you know your perfect squares, you know that 4 is a perfect square and the square root of 4 is going to be 2. But if you don't know your perfect squares, you should check the top and the bottom to make sure that it's not, that you can't simplify it. And then you would see that this is the same thing as 2, and this would be your answer. So if you do this, that's 1 point. If you get this, that's 2 points. And to me, it's a pretty easy 2 points. All right, let's go. I think there's one more that I want to do, or is there two? Let's see, this one. Yeah, I got two more. All right, so now this one is just a word problem, and they're giving us a quadratic function. They want the vertex. So again, you're going to use menu 62, and basically you need to tell what the vertex means. In this case, the vertex represents the number of seconds that it takes to reach the maximum height. That's it. So I'm not going to actually do this because it's not a big deal to just find the minimum or the maximum in this case. Actually, it's not going to be a minimum. I'm glad I looked at that. It's going to be a maximum because this one has a maximum. So it's going to be maximum 63. Menu 63 will give you the maximum. And then they want to know how long does it take for the object to hit the ground. So all you need now is menu 61 for the zeros. And that would give you the answer there. So, all right. So basically that's it. And again, here is another quadratic that they're giving you that you're going to see. Now, sometimes they will ask you to find the zeros algebraically. In that case, you would use the quadratic formula and boom, you'd be done. Now, I got one more that I wanted to go over. Now, this was the first time that they've kind of done it this way. They gave us two equations. One is a quadratic. The second one is a linear. And they want us to solve this system algebraically. Now, what I'm going to say is that I always teach my students whenever they're given two equations, two functions, to graph it and find intersections. And that's what we're going to do here. But one of the things that we need to show the test makers is that we know how to do it algebraically. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the quadratic formula. So we're going to set these two equal to each other. So it's going to be x squared plus 4x minus 1 is equal to 2x plus 7. Since they're both equal to y, then they're equal to each other. And then we're just going to move everything over to the left-hand part of the equation because it has to be, in order to use a quadratic formula, it has to be equal to 0. So this is going to be equal to 0. This is going to be 1x squared plus 2x minus 8. And all we're going to do is go A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals a negative 8. Then we're going to use the quadratic formula. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find the intersection, and then we're going to be done. So I'm going to go here, get rid of this. We're going to graph again. We're going to enter the first quadratic function. That's x squared plus 4x minus 1. And then we're going to enter the second function, which is a linear, is 2x plus 7, 2x plus 7, press enter. And I'm going to pull the paper down so we can see all the intersections. Or I'm just going to do menu 44 and zoom out so we can get everything. All right, so there are the intersections. We're just going to do menu 64. Boom. Start on the left. Okay, there's one intersection. Then we're going to do menu 64 again. And we're going to come to the right part, and there's the other one. So we're just going to write on our paper, it's going to be a -4, a -1, or, yep. And then it's going to be 2 and 11, right? So those are the coordinates. And once you've entered the quadratic, that would be +2, and our answers would be +2. All right. So again, I want you guys to see that most of this is you're going to use the quadratic formula when they want you to show it algebraically, right? But we're actually going to be graphing and either using menu 61, menu 62, or menu 64. I hope that makes sense, and I hope this has been helpful. If you need anything else, let me know. I'm going to stop and I'm going to post this. But I am going to do one more. I'm going to do the June 2024 as well, kind of the same process. So let me stop and post.